This is iFIBER 1 News. Here are today's top stories.
A new study has revealed that the burgeoning industry of Bitcoin mining is already producing the same amount of carbon dioxide emissions as a city the size of Las Vegas.
Washington's guidelines for criminal sentencing need to be simplified and allow judges more flexibility.
Reigning 2A state champ BJ Garza has signed with the brand new wrestling program at Arizona Christian University.
Last week, over 1,000 customers of the Douglas County Public Utility District were without power for a total of roughly 6 hours, caused by a small mammal whose average weight is only about the same as a block of butter.
From the iFIBER 1 newsroom, this is iFIBER 1 News. And it starts now.
A new study has revealed that the burgeoning industry of Bitcoin mining is already producing the same amount of carbon dioxide emissions as a city the size of Las Vegas. Researchers at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology and the Technical University of Munich published their findings in the journal Joule. The research team looked at the amount of power being consumed by the computers used to generate Bitcoins and process the transactions involving them. They then combined these results with data on carbon emissions from electricity production in the nations where the computers are located. Their conclusions were that in late 2018, the global Bitcoin network produced nearly 23 million tons of CO2 annually, which is similar to the amount emitted by a large U.S. city. The researchers indicated that roughly 68% of the computing power used in the Bitcoin industry is located in Asia and about 17% is in Europe. 15%, however, is located within North America, and a high concentration of its operations are found in the Pacific Northwest in the United States, including in many regional locales like the Wenatchee Valley and the Columbia Basin. Environmental impacts of Bitcoin infrastructure have long been a concern, especially when considering its limited uptake. Last year, the Bitcoin network processed about 81 million transactions compared to 500 billion transactions handled by the regular global banking system, meaning that by the numbers, an average Bitcoin transaction utilized about 271 kilograms of CO2, which is hundreds of thousands of times that required for a standard credit card transaction. Reporting for iFIBER 1 News, I'm Chris Hansen.
Washington's guidelines for criminal sentencing need to be simplified and allow judges more flexibility. That's the conclusion of the State Sentencing Guidelines Commission, which last week approved recommendations that would change what's called the sentencing grid. That's the table judges and lawyers use when calculating how long a felony offender must serve in local jail or prison. Right now, each offense comes with a standard sentencing range, which judges can deviate from only in a few circumstances. One option from the Commission would simply expand those ranges. The other would completely overhaul the grid and offer judges wide leeway for how convictions would be punished. The Commission says its report is still in keeping with the 1981 Sentencing Reform Act, but it reflects modern thoughts on criminal justice.
The SRA was based on our best thinking in the late 70s and early 80s, and that is that we cannot change offender behavior. And that is something that has changed over the last generation or so. We have learned that there is good science available to the effect that we can make changes.
Jefferson Robbins, iFIBER 1 News.
This segment is brought to you by...
Change doesn't have to be complicated. With a low-profile microwave hood combination that's ready to install right out of the box. It fits in the same space as your under-cabinet hood, so you can get your microwave off the countertop and make space for the routines worth keeping. The low-profile microwave hood combination from the #1 selling appliance brand in the USA.
Whirlpool Appliances, now available at more furniture in Ephrata.
It may be late in the recruiting season, but 128 reigning 2A state champ BJ Garza has signed with the brand new wrestling program at Arizona Christian University. The ACU Firestorm added a baseball team in 2012 and a football team in 2014, both of which saw tons of success early. Considering the quick and effective impact the other sports have made, the wrestling program there aims to do the same, and Garza was someone they wanted as part of their team. Quote, Garza was all set to go to Central Washington University and had everything paid for, his father Bernie Garza said. He wasn't interested in wrestling, but he made a visit and they made him a really good offer, like a can't say no type of thing. Garza joins the wrestling team that's then at his weight class at 182. Garza graduated with an associate's degree from Columbia Basin College as part of the Running Start program, so he has 2 years at university. With no incumbent to overthrow, Garza aims to be the best recruit to start for the Firestorm this season. I'm Adam Chikoski for iFiber 1 Sports.
This segment is brought to you by...
Are your taste buds bored? Well, then bring them to Jay's Teriyaki. Not only does Jay's have a variety of teriyaki dishes, they also offer mouth-watering salads and sides. Call Jay's 509-764-5155. Jay's Teriyaki, located at 123 East Broadway in Moses Lake, because it's all in the sauce.
1,000 customers of the Douglas County Public Utility District were without power for a total of roughly 6 hours when 3 separate outages struck the East Wenatchee area. The interruption in service was not the result of a 10 billion watt lightning strike, a pole or line that was downed in heavy winds, or an equipment malfunction, but rather was caused by a small mammal whose average weight is only about the same as a block of butter.
So on a Wednesday, we had a rather large, about 1,000 customer outage here in East Wenatchee. That outage was deemed that it was a squirrel-caused outage. Then the next day, a smaller pocket of that same outage area, about 30 customers I think it was. Again, another squirrel outage. And then on Friday, so it was 3 days in a row, a different pocket of that same area had a squirrel outage.
Those squirrels will climb up a pole or climb up a tree, run down the line, and they'll get in between that energized jumper that's 7,200 volts while they're standing on that grounded transformer tank, and it takes them out and it spits the fuse out every single time.
Squirrels are not only the leading cause of power disruptions annually for both the Douglas and Chelan County Public Utility Districts, but are also the #1 contributor to sustained outages of 5 minutes or more nationwide, accounting for nearly 3,500 individual incidents, which left almost 200,000 people in the dark as recently as 2016, according to a study at publicpower.org.
We get a lot of them, and they're usually not large outages. They're more of nuisance outages. They usually take out one transformer that can feed anywhere from one household to potentially 6 households. It's not isolated to one area. We have them downtown. We have them out in the rural areas, Lake Wenatchee, anywhere there's trees. We have them in the middle of the desert. They're everywhere.
In an effort to mitigate the incidence of interruptions and damage caused by the rodents, many PUDs have started implementing a variety of deterrents and safeguards within their line structuring.
This is a bushing guard which goes on top of the transformer bushing to try to keep the squirrel away from the live voltage. This typically, in most situations, is just bare metal, but because of the squirrel issue, we've started buying this jacketed jumper, which has that insulation on it to keep them away from it.
Yeah, we also use now, we've gone to in the last probably 3 years, we use an insulated jumper itself to help protect that, and along with all of our old transformers that we have out there now, we use that funnel, that upside down, it's called a squirrel guard, but we use those, and we changed our spec about a year ago, and now all of our new overhead transformers come with that built into it.
The ever-improving measures are having a positive impact on curtailing the frequency of squirrel-caused power outages, with Douglas County now reporting about half the near 100 per year they were experiencing just 4 years ago, and Chelan County reducing its number to only 25 in 2018. Nevertheless, both utilities are still locked in an ongoing battle with the furry critters to try and keep the lights on, along with other animals which can also cause disruptions like birds, raccoons, and vermin such as mice and rats. Reporting for iFiber 1 News, I'm Chris Hansen.
This is iFiber 1 News. For more information on these stories and other news, visit us online at iFiber1.com or check us out on Facebook.